Tim Foreman from Switchfoot. So my name is Esky. That's my nickname here, Esky, from Hope 1032. But it's such a pleasure to speak with you. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Esky.
You're welcome. Now, look, you guys have been to Australia several times. I've seen you guys actually a few times. I remember the very first time I saw you actually. It was I don't know if you remember this one. Big EXO Day back in 2007, I think. The other headliner was Pillar. It was a massive
Okay.
Christian festival here in Sydney. But I know you guys would have played hundreds of shows since then. So
Yeah. We're excited to be coming back, man. It's been far too long.
way too long. Yeah, you're coming in beginning of 2023, and like you guys always have such great energy every single time I've seen you live. And I guess how have you noticed the live experience change, particularly in recent times since playing live again?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest difference is it feels like such a gift. Live music feels like such a privilege. Something that was taken from us and lost for a couple of years, and really, I think we probably took it for granted. Up until that point, and when you lose something and then you get it back, it feels all that more special.
Mm. And for the people that are going to be coming to your live show for the first time, you said that you're going to be playing your greatest hits and fan favorites as well. But what can people expect from a live Switchfoot show?
Yeah, every night's different. That's something that's really, I think, unique to a Switchfoot show is we never play the same set twice, and we rarely follow our set list. Anyways, we kind of make a set list as like a guide before we go on stage, and then we get up on stage and read the room, and people start shouting out song requests and holding up signs, and it's a very two-way interactive experience where we don't even know where it's going to end up by the end of the night.
Yeah, I love that. So you've been doing your live streams since the beginning of COVID quite regularly and playing some of your classic albums, Learning to Breathe. I don't know if you did your other previous ones, but you've been playing a lot of fan favorites and songs which you probably haven't played live for several years. But what has been one of the probably most left field requests for you guys, whether it's at a live show or on a live stream, like a song you're like, man, I don't even know if we remember how to
Yeah,
play
I mean, there's been so many of those, especially on these live streams. Like you said, it's live music in a different way, right? So people are
it.
still shouting out song requests, only instead of shouting it, they're typing it into the chat, and a lot of times it's your most diehard fans that are tuning in, so that the songs they want to hear are never the hits. It's always the real obscure ones, and I
Yeah.
think I think one of the big positives of that whole thing is we actually know a lot more of our entire catalog than I think we ever have as a band.
Mm,
Coming out of the season of not touring, I felt like our chops were kind of better than they had ever been because we had been doing these live streams, playing songs that we hadn't played in years, dusting them off. And it's a really fun place to be starting from now as we get back to touring again, to
mm.
feel like some of those oddball song requests we actually can pull off now.
Yeah, 100%. I'm looking forward to that. And I know that well, look, it's been 25 years since you released your debut, which is just incredible to think about. I was just listening actually recently to your debut, which is Legend of Chin, and I was actually really struck by the fact that it sounds, to me at least, remarkably fresh musically. Beautiful production and lyrically as well, very still holds up, but also feels almost more relevant to me, I think, as I get older, almost more relatable. And it's got these deep spiritual themes and yearning, which, the lyrics tend to be a bit more ambiguous, I find, in the album, but that's actually part of the appeal of the album, I think, for me. It's very universally relatable. Um, I don't know. What's your perspective on the album? When you've listened back to those songs?
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that music is this living, breathing thing. That's an album that, like you said, we recorded 25 years ago. And but those songs are in motion because we're in motion. So every time we hear them, I'm a different person. You're a different person, maybe than the first time you heard them, and they mean different things to us. Whenever someone asks me, what does this song mean? What is it about? I'm way more interested in having them tell me what it means to them first,
Mm.
because I think their opinion is equally valid. That's I love that about music. When I listen to a Bob Dylan song, I'm going to have my own opinion about what it means because it's as you listen, you're putting it in your own life and in the experiences that you've had. You're seeing those pictures in your mind, and that's unique to you, yeah, I think that's one of the special things about music. And we do, I think we've found that some of the songs that feel the most deeply personal to us, written at 2 a.m., trying to solve, the big questions of life. And it might be very specific to, a situation that I'm in or my brother's in, that we're writing from. But those songs tend to be the most universal because I think they're touching on deep truths that are universal. Even if the specifics are different, everyone knows what it feels like to be awake at 2 a.m. wondering why they're on the planet, and what the purpose for their life is. And I think that's why music for us, we're more interested in asking questions than giving answers because we have a lot of questions, and music's a great place to put them.
Mm. And you could always do that by, you guys could always rock out with your songs, but even early on, and I think this is the thing that impresses me too, from the very beginning, you guys were asking those deep spiritual, not just spiritual, but just deep questions of, what is the meaning of life? What are we doing here? But also, you could put it in the form of a gorgeous ballad, songs, of course, like Only Hope, Home, Let That Be Enough. Do you remember what it was like writing those songs as well? Because those songs, again, still hold up so beautifully today.
Yeah, I mean, we've always tried to be very honest, in the songwriting process, um, which I think is a good guide. Um, Trying to second guess what someone else is going to like is that's a dubious game because you can never put yourself in someone else's shoes and someone else's pain and someone else's experience, but you can write from your own because that's true to you, and if I like it, if it resonates with me, it's probably going to resonate with someone else, but you can't flip that the other way around.
Mm.
Um, and that's kind of been a good guide for us to write from. We always try and stick to that, to write from something that's honest to us.
Hmm. And I want to go a couple of years later, just before you guys exploded, I guess, in the mainstream. You guys feature a few of your songs were featured in, of course, A Walk to Remember with Mandy Moore. And if I remember correctly, Mandy Moore, I think, was a huge fan of your music at the time, and she kind of lobbied for your music to be included in the film. But do you guys remember what it was like getting that call or hearing, oh, yeah, your songs are going to be featured in this major motion picture, and Mandy Moore's a huge fan of you guys?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know that we realized what a big deal it was going to be. I think it's always exciting when your music gets used in some other art form, film, TV show, that kind of thing. And I love the mixing of those platforms. But yeah, I don't know that we knew that it was going to become the sensation that it did, and it started with just the one song, Only Hope. And then I think by the end of it, it ended up using 5 of our songs, um, it reminded me of, for me, when I discovered Elliott Smith, that was from the movie Good Will Hunting, where he had most of the soundtrack, and that was like our Elliott Smith moment. That was the chance for us to do almost an entire soundtrack. It was such a privilege. And then to see it can take a life of its own, especially in certain parts of the world. There's certain places that we still go, like Philippines, where that movie really connected deeply with certain parts of the world, and so we'll play songs there that the big song when we go to Manila is Only Hope. And that's a song that doesn't make it into our set list. Most nights here in the U.S. So it's really interesting to see how these things take shape.
Mm. Yeah, that's super interesting. Yeah, and you're right. Certain songs being a lot bigger in other areas. And I think I'm actually also thinking about the way you guys have always experimented musically as well over time. You've still managed to maintain a core sound, I guess, but always wanting to branch out musically and lyrically. I loved how Particularly in the beautiful Letdown, you guys started exploring more electronic elements. You kind of had a bit of that before. And of course, in recent times, you've, made full-on rock albums. And I guess my question is, what would you like to explore musically in the future, as part of Switchfoot, or where would you like to branch out? I mean, can we expect a Switchfoot trip hop album anytime soon?
Yeah, I mean, I think what I love about music is it's an endless place to explore, right? And we've been exploring as a band for 25 years, and I feel like we still feel like we're just kind of scratching the surface. There's so much to learn. Interrobang was a perfect example of that for us. I felt like we learned more in the making of that album than we had in years, about harmonic and chordal structure of different ways of colliding melodies. And so I'm really excited about kind of continuing that journey as a student of music. And I think curiosity is a great motivator. That's a great starting block for any form of art. And I'm still very curious about the way music works, about the way a band works. I'm always fascinated. How did this happen? How did five people get in a room and create something? And it's different every time, the way that happens, from album to album, from song to song. And it just fascinates me.
100%. Well, I can't wait to see what you guys do next. And also, before I forget, I remember seeing, I think that your son has recently released new music as well. I think, yeah, and
That's right.
Yeah, what was that like, seeing your son put his own music out in the world?
Yeah, he's extremely talented. He's writing amazing songs, pretty regular daily basis. Playing new songs that he's written for me, and not written for me. He's playing them for me, and yeah, I can't wait to see where that takes him. It's such a beautiful thing to see. Your own kids discover music in their own way. I've been bringing him out on tour for years, just because we love adventuring and exploring together. And music wasn't really that interesting to him until one day it was, and now it's like, he lives and breathes music, and it's so funny how that happens, and music can find you in different ways.
100%. Before I let you go, Tim, also I noticed recently also you guys posted some bands and music which you recommended. And here on Fresh, which is the show here we do at the station, where we play like new and upcoming alternative music from Christian artists. It can be very left field, or it can be a bit more mainstream. But what are some artists or bands that you would recommend for checking out?
Gosh, there's some good bands from San Diego coming up recently. Band called Sunroom, another band called Rory, Tyson Matzenbacher. These are all artists
Tyson.
from
we do play him. He's good.
The San Diego area, and I'm very fond of where we're from. It's a very eclectic music space. It's unlike LA, where LA can be really competitive. In San Diego, it feels like there's room for everyone to be in their own space and still be cheering each other on.
Brilliant. Well, Tim Foreman from Switchfoot, it's been a pleasure chatting with you today. Thank you so much for your time, and very much looking forward to seeing you guys when you come here next year.
Hey, thanks for having me.